Hello everybody, I'm Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome along to another daily Doctor Who YouTube video. It is Wednesday today, which means I am back with another ranking of all the episodes in a certain series of Doctor Who. From the thumbnail, you can see that today I am ranking all Series 9 stories, and coincidentally there are 9 of them. Lots of people consider there to be 6 stories, consisting of mainly two-parters. I actually disagree. I think that there are 9. I don't think The Girl Who Died and the Woman Who Lived is a two-parter, and I don't think that Face the Raven, Heaven Sent, Hellbent is a 3-parter at all. I consider them all 3 separate stories. So these are the two-parter Magician's Apprentice and the Witch's Familiar, the two-parter Under the Lake and Before the Flood, The Girl Who Died, The Woman Who Lived, the two-parter The ZYGON Invasion and the ZYGON Inversion, Sleep No More, Face the Raven, Heaven Sent, and Hell Bent. Overall, I think quite highly of this series. It has an average of 8.12. Had it not been for the bottom spot, which I hate with a passion, then it probably would have been a lot higher. You'll find out what score I gave it in a minute. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get into it. Unfortunately, in 9th place, we have Sleep No More. You're probably expecting this. This is my least favourite Doctor Who episode and story ever. This is painful to watch for me, and lots of the time I think very highly of most Doctor Who episodes, but this one I have given a 4.9. Any score under a 6 I consider bad. 4.9, it's just hit rock bottom here. Lots of people probably put 13th Doctor episodes at the bottom, but I think this just failed on so many levels, which was surprising because quality-wise, the rest of the series was really good, as you'll find out later, in my opinion. But this one is just terrible. The whole concept is pretty stupid with that, evil eye gunk. I really don't understand that. It has really annoying side characters as well. Like, they're so forgettable. I can't even remember any of their names. I just remember how annoying they were. I do appreciate this a little bit for trying something different. I do slightly appreciate it for that, with the whole kind of videotapes thing. It's not a standard Doctor Who episode. The creature design is alright. It's nothing special. It's not bad though. This is an extreme waste of an otherwise alright idea. I don't mind the idea of Morpheus. It's just how it was executed. It was executed so terribly with a clunky plot, and I was really surprised when, just before these incredible episodes that I watched previously, then there was an episode this bad. The first time I even watched this, I skipped through it because after the first 10 minutes I just couldn't watch this. So, yes, that's all that out of the way. In 8th place, huge leap. I think this is a leap of something like 2.7 or something. We have The Woman Who Lived. I've given this a 7.6. When I first watched this, I didn't really like it. I'd say I give it a 6.1, 6.2. Now it's much higher though. Upon a rewatch, it really isn't that bad. I don't mean me, I mean the actual character known as Me, that person you can see on the right, is actually quite a likeable character, and my favourite version of her is in this episode. I'm not that keen on her in Face the Raven and Hellbent, and she's not that bad in The Girl Who Died. This doesn't have any Clara, which was very good actually. This was written as a companionless season, but Jenna Coleman decided she wanted to stay on, so they just kind of added her into all the episodes, probably explaining why she didn't get any more character development in this series at all. But I'm glad she wasn't in it for this episode, because had Clara been in there, it just would have made things not as enjoyable to watch. But this, I really like the dynamic between the Doctor and Me. I don't really like that Leonian, I think, that lion person. I really don't understand the whole sci-fi element here. I think this would have benefited from being a pure historical. Sadly, we haven't had one since the 5th Doctor story, Black Orchid. Yeah, this should have been a pure historical, but it's still an alright story, and I do quite like the Doctor and Ashilda, I'll call her. In 7th place we have Hellbent, which I've given a 7.8. This is an extremely controversial episode, probably one of the least liked 12th Doctor episodes ever, and I really don't get the hate. Yes, it's lower down on this list because the overall series average is really high in this, so Hellbent is automatically lower down because I've given it a 7.8. I don't think it's that bad. I think lots of people only say it's terrible because it didn't quite live up to its predecessor, Heaven Sent, which was phenomenal, I will agree. The hybrid plot is really confusing. I really don't understand, well, I do understand it, but I don't understand why they needed a series-long arc. I think they've had really complicated series-long arcs throughout the last few series. I thought this could just be some stories, to be honest. They did bring Clara back, which kind of, made her death not mean that much, in Face the Raven. This is quite a difficult watch, however, it does set up the pilot really well, and, the Christmas specials that follow it quite well. It's kind of a soft reboot towards the end, where he goes back in his TARDIS. It looks, it's got a little bit of a design update, and he's got a new sonic screwdriver, and, he's back as a Doctor, and everything's kind of on a fresh slate now. I do really like that ending. I quite like the Gallifrey setting, actually. I do really like the scenes where he's kind of, exiling Rassilon. I thought that was really cool as well, and it just kind of shows how much power the Doctor has over Gallifrey. He basically saved it, and he becomes Lord President again, actually. So, yeah, I don't think it's that bad. It just doesn't quite live up to Heaven Sent. Still not bad, though. In 6th place, we have The Girl Who Died. I've given this an 8. This is the very first episode we see the character Mi, or Ashilda, in this story, and at this point she is actually immortal. She's a mortal. She's not immortal like she becomes at the end of the episode. It's quite a good setting, actually. I've been wanting a Viking episode for a while, and we finally got one, and I really liked it. I think this would have benefited from being a pure historical as well, but they kind of needed something to attack Ashilda so that, she'd become immortal from the Doctor. Yeah, the Maya aren't really needed. This would have benefited from being a pure historical. This does have a pretty great final battle, though, with all those traps and kind of the Doctor training everyone. I thought that was really funny. Clara does pretty much nothing in this story, which makes sense since this was written to be without Clara. I think this would have benefited from being without her as well as the woman who lived, but this does set up the Ashilda Mi arc quite nicely and paves the way for future stories that she's in. In 5th place, we have Under the Lake and Before the Flood. That's crazy. This is the worst two-parter of the series, which sounds really bad, but actually I really enjoyed this. I think every two-parter in this series is really good. I've given this an 8.3. I think this is the story in New Who that utilises its two parts to the fullest extent, with the first part being set in the fallout of a disaster and the second part being set mere hours before it. I thought that was really good. I do quite like the subplot, on the base in 2119 with Clara and those side characters. I thought that was quite good. This is also a really nice twist with that Doctor in the stasis chamber. All along we thought it was the Fisher King, but actually it was the Doctor. And it does explore the bootstrap paradox, how he programmed the ghost of him to say the names that he heard from the ghost that he had programmed in the future. I thought that was really interesting, and the ghost design is really creepy, especially Under the Lake, which I probably prefer to Before the Flood. Those ghosts are really creepy, and the first part is pretty much a really good Base Under Siege story. In 4th place, we have The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar, the opening two-parter of this series, and I've given it an 8.5. Lots of people really hate this story, and I don't see why. I actually really like it. Missy is there. I'm not really sure why. It's not really kind of explained why she's there after unleashing an army of Cybermen on the world. I think that's kind of glossed over, but it's good all the same because Missy's one of my favourite masters in Classic and New Who. Scaro's reappearance is really good. I don't think we'd seen it since... I can't quite remember. I think it was Revelation of the Daleks that we last saw Skaro. I don't think New Who explored it at all except this episode, and it was really good. I honestly wasn't expecting it to be set on Skaro. Davros's redemption, well, sort of redemption, failed redemption. I don't really see the point of that. I think this just should have been another Dalek story, to be honest, not one where Davros kind of redeems himself. It's not really explained why they're searching for the hybrid. I think that's kind of glossed over as well. And the whole scene where Clara's a Dalek is really sad, and she's trying to, tell the Doctor, but it's just making her say something else. I thought that was really good as well. In third place, we have Face the Raven. I've given this a 9. Firstly, this is a really good idea, the whole trap street in London. I thought that was really good, a hidden street away from everyone's eyes. I thought that was really good, and I really wasn't expecting Ashilda to be in this. I thought that that was kind of done, but nope, she is here. Clara's death scene is really sad and probably the saddest companion exit ever, and yes, it's more sad than Rose's, Donna's and Bill's companion exits. Seeing all those different species is really good. We haven't seen lots of them, like the Sycorax and the Sontarans, since seasons before, so I did quite like seeing them again. Also, Rigsy is back from Flatline. I think he would make a very good companion. Sadly, he's only been in 2 stories, and that's been it. And yeah, I think this was a really sad story, and the plot does get a tiny bit weird, with the whole Rigsy being convicted for murder. I didn't really understand that, but I love this episode all the same, and I think it was brilliant. In second place, we have the ZYGON invasion and the ZYGON inversion. I've given this a 9.2. This episode is known for having that incredible speech from the Doctor in the ZYGON inversion, which I did really like. I thought that was brilliant and definitely solidified for me the fact that the 12th Doctor is my favourite New Who Doctor, and Doctor overall. But this episode is really good besides that one scene. Lots of people seem to forget about the ZYGON invasion completely. I do like the return of Unit and the Zygons. It's a nice little sequel to Day of the Doctor, which is quite good. I like how it dives straight into the plot with the 2 Osgoods. It's not kind of, the Doctor and Clara landing somewhere and trying to figure out what's going on. Straight away, it's chaos, and I really like that. The Clara twist is brilliant, where the Zygella, the Zygon that's taken over Clara's body. I thought that was really good, and I honestly wasn't really expecting it, even though I think I should have been. The scale model of war speech is really good. I think that was amazing, and the whole scene where Clara's trapped in that house in a dream, that was really scary scene as well, actually. In first place, you were probably expecting this. It's Heaven Sent. I've given this an incredible 9.8 out of 10. This is my 3rd favourite Doctor Who story ever. Actually, my 3rd favourite New Who story ever. It's just a little bit not as good as Twice Upon a Time and World Enough and Time the Doctor Falls. Nevertheless, this is still a phenomenal story. Firstly, it's an incredible idea. The Doctor kind of, breaking the wall of Asbantium, with a few punches every time, taking him 7,000 years in each time in the castle, and then kind of being, remade in that place. And I thought that was really good. This is also a brilliant performance from the 12th Doctor. I don't think any other actor who's played the Doctor could have pulled this off, except maybe David Tennant. Other than those 2, though, I don't think any of them would make Heaven Sent as an episode as brilliant as it is. This is also a really nice representation for his battling grief for Clara. I thought that was really good. And I really like that whole scene where he kept on kind of saying how many years he was in the future, and he kept on breaking the wall loads of times, because the first 50 minutes of this was just his first time in the castle, but the last 5 were his next however many million. This also has an awesome cliffhanger with seeing Gallifrey. I thought it just would be a room with a TARDIS and that was it. But yes, it sets up Hellbent really well, and I just love every second of Heaven Sent. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody, and feel free to hit the subscribe and like button and comment your ranking of Series 9 stories down in the comments. Next time. So tomorrow then I will be continuing my series of ranking all episode 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. Tomorrow I will rank all episode 5s. I will see you then, and goodbye.